Our next speaker is Dan Bonab. Right there. It's called Respect.
It's going to be a tough act to follow.
Get closer. Make sure you get close to the mic.
The last sentence actually would be a good opening for my talk. I'm Dan Bonab. I'm an IT specialist. My talk isn't.
You can even hold it if you like it. Okay.
Take that risk. Yeah, but my talk today is not going to be any geeky or not too much of that kind of content. I'm going to talk about respect. Mutual strategies like respect, trust, care, and the like are common concepts among all cultures. But there's no clear scientific definitions for them to help advance behavioral studies. Today I'm going to talk about the model of respect based on game theory and how important mutual strategies are in the advancement of human interactions. Edward O. Wilson many years ago had a vision that all the sciences can be unified, and physics will play a central role in this unifying process. Interestingly, there's no concept of strategic interactions in physics. And as some scientists like Herbert Gentis in his book, Game Theory Evolving, suggests, game theory can make more sense to be regarded as unifier, especially in behavioral sciences. Game theory is a modeling tool, and it employs game vocabulary like players, rounds, payoffs, and so on, to study complex behavioral interactions and situational decision making. A game is when two or more players get involved in an interaction in order to maximize their payoffs during the course of the game, which could last one or more rounds. The payoff matrix determines the dynamics of a game. It displays the amount of payoff each player will receive upon choosing a specific strategy. A game can be played in a single round, multiple rounds, or infinite number of rounds, known as an infinite game. An infinite game is basically defined as a game in which there is a possibility for each round to be the last round, and that impacts the strategic decision making drastically, since players are not interested in immediate payoffs anymore, and instead they try to forecast their total payoff further down the line. Doesn't that sound familiar? It's a lot like our life, I think, where we play every day, and every day could be our last day. One of the most interesting games that has been the subject of numerous researches is Prisoner's Dilemma. The game is about two convicts who are arrested and being questioned separately without knowing each other's answers. The convicts have two possible strategies: either to cooperate with the other convict, meaning to remain silent, or to defect, meaning confess that he and his fellow prisoner in fact committed the crime. If both convicts cooperate, each will get 3 points. You can visualize each point as $1 million. If one of them defects, he'll get 5 points, and his fellow will get 0. If both defect, each of them will get only 1 point. There are many formations of the Prisoner's Dilemma game with different payoff matrices, which will obviously introduce different dynamics to the game. However, this simple game very closely resembles many of the strategic interactions that we encounter in our daily lives. If we cooperate, we will receive a solid payoff. But there's greed, jealousy, personal interest, and so on that will lure us towards the bigger prize. Sometimes that risk pays off, but sometimes our opponent will defect as well, and consequently we all lose. Robert Axelrod in 1984 published his infamous book, Evolution of Cooperation, in which he reported of a tournament that he organized of an end-round prisoner's dilemma game where contestants, which were actually computer programs, chose a mutual strategy in each round with memory of encounters in previous rounds. A variety of computer programs were submitted with different levels of complexity, some very hostile and some with capacity for forgiveness. Surprisingly, a guy named Anatol Rappaport, who had submitted the shortest program known as Tit for Tat, won the contest. His program was very simple. In every round, his program was just copying his opponent's strategy from the previous round. Axelrod, who was amazed by the result, went on and made some revisions to the strategy. He found out that if he starts the game with cooperation in initial rounds, and then follows that with a tit-for-tat strategy, he will get even better results in the long run. Respect, the way especially understood in modern cultures, is essentially a tit-for-tat strategy. Unlike his sister trust, which is a lot more cooperative and forgiving and therefore easier to take advantage of, respect involves constant monitoring. In modern societies, when people become more self-centered and hostile, they quickly lose respect of their societies, and therefore they will be the losers in the long run in the game of life. Definition of respect in different cultures is almost as diverse as the valuing principles in those cultures. I, however, believe global awareness and better education will lead to a better definition of respect and will improve strategic interactions among human beings, and hence will advance the emergence of cooperation. The best definition of respect I have come up with employing game theory principles is respect is a cooperative tit-for-tat strategy where it enables human beings to acknowledge rights and capabilities of self, others, and nature, and acting accordingly. By acting accordingly, I mean to justify mutual strategies for a better payoff in the long run.